Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more.
Robert Rivas Radio, Tejano, and much more. And at this time, I'd like to introduce a female comedian that I saw perform this past Saturday at Marty's. And I got to tell you, man, this woman impressed me. She made me laugh, and I'm still laughing at her performance. Mary Becquet. Good morning, Mary. Welcome to Robert Rivas Radio.
Thank you, Robert. Oh, you're too kind. Thank you very much.
No, I'm not being too kind. I'm giving you what is due here, man. I mean, you simply just blew me away by your performance, Mary. I was just like, oh my God, man. Completely. I was just like laughing at your performance. You did awesome.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. You know, Marty's is such a great venue, and everybody else on the show was so good. Like, I find a lot of times when you're in that type of a situation, when everybody is, and I'm not including myself in that, right? But when I'm performing with people who are so funny and so good, it just lifts up everybody's performances, you know, even more. So, yeah, it was an overall great show with all those guys. But thank you. Thanks again. I'm glad you enjoyed the joke.
It was a lot of fun. Now, Mary, let me ask you a question. Where did you come up with the idea of saying, you know what, I want to be a comedian. I want to be a funny person?
Well, I'll tell you what. I've always been a joker. In fact, in high school, I think it was something like, you know, I got voted the biggest joker or something like that. But I do like to eat and pay my rent. So I've always, I went into kind of accounting and business, and I've worked in finance for many years now. So on one job out in the studios in L.A., I used to live out in L.A., I used to take notes in my meetings in a notebook, and I would write down some smart alecky comments or jokes, sometimes about my coworkers that maybe weren't very complimentary. Anyway, one time I left my notebook. I left it at a finance retreat, and people found it, and they were reading out loud. Like, I made our finance department into an A-list, B-list, C-list. So when they found that, they asked me, what is this? And I just made up on the spot. I'm like, I'm going to do stand-up comedy, and that's just my ideas for jokes. So then I immediately ran to the Internet and did some research and took a class, and I've been doing stand-up ever since. It's just so much fun.
Can you remember one of the craziest, zaniest things you ever did in high school?
Oh, my gosh. In high school, we used to get into a lot of trouble. Okay, this is way back in the day. You'll see how old I am. I went to Manor High School, you know, out by Austin. So we used to go over to, we used to skip school and go into, like, Highland Mall in there and go to the Chelsea Street pub on lunch.
Oh, wow.
It's not that crazy. Okay, it's not that crazy. What can I say?
Chelsea Street Pub, those 3-for-1s, man. Who can forget those?
Oh, my gosh, and that Cobb salad. Yeah, we would go there and, you know, lie about our age and say we were 18. Back then, the drinking age was 18, and then we'd just go shop.
No, Mary.
Too wild, okay?
No, Mary, are you Hispanic? Are you Anglo? I mean, because you kind of threw me for a loop on your performance, because you were talking some heavy-duty Spanish words there for a bit.
Oh, well, I grew up in Texas. I'm all Anglo, you know, just like as white bread can be. But out in Manor, you know, I had a lot of Latina friends. My best friend since high school is Latina, and her whole family, you know, they've always just adopted me, you know, for the last, 30 years. So I have a great appreciation for Tejano culture and Latino culture, and hopefully that's part of me, you know. It's part of what I love about my home state.
Did it get you a little nervous now? Like Saturday night, there were like 4 or 5 male comedians, and you were the only female comedian. Kind of crazy, right?
Well, you know what? Actually, that's normal for me, right? I'm always usually the only woman. Maybe there's 2 or 3 of us, unless you know you do one of the shows where it's all girls. So I'm used to that. And you know what? These guys in San Antonio, for the most part, they're all really nice guys. So, and, you know, Mike Robles, he's awesome.
Now, do you ever get intimidated by the men? Do men get intimidated by, you know, they're seeing you up there performing and kind of, you know, giving them some jabs and stuff like that? Do the guys get pissed off at you?
Sometimes they do, but, you know, it's more like they think I'm, you know, extremely, I think I have a quote like self-absorbed. like to some of your less evolved males, like it's the woman's job to just focus on the men. So they find me self-absorbed when I want to just work on my comedy. And you know, they'll be like, "Hey, you haven't cooked or cleaned nothing yet." Well, okay, guys.
It's just, I was noticing that, but, you know, you were taking some good jabs at the guys, and I'm all for it, and I got no problem with that. But some men, you know, they get pissed off. They don't like that crap, and you know that, Mary. That's true.
Yeah, some of them do. And you know what, sometimes, you know, I haven't gotten into any big fights or anything like that. Most men that I, you know, do my comedy for, they take it all in the spirit of laughing. Because you know what, like a lot of the jokes are about women, too, and you know, you got to be able to laugh at yourself as well as, you know, at other people. So I hope I didn't offend you.
Not at all. Like I said, man, that's what you're saying. We're there to have a good time, and that's what it's all about. On my morning show, the women, my female listeners, they know what I'm about. You know, I'm always, you know, throwing some jabs at them, but at the end of the day, you know, that we are all one big happy family. At least I think so. I don't know yet. I may go outside and find a couple of flat tires in my car. I don't know.
You know what? For me, that's just how I handle situations where I'm in pain. And I think a lot of laughter comes from a place of pain. Like even back there when I was out there in L.A., and you know what, I'm a Texas gal. I say what I'm thinking. You know, I didn't fit in there. And so that's how I handled, you know, that feeling of rejection is I would just make fun of everything around me. So I feel like a lot of good comedy comes from, you know, the painful parts of being human. You just have to laugh at it.
Mary, do you get a lot of male hecklers or even female hecklers?
You know, the worst hecklers I've gotten have been female. You know,
wow,
sometimes
really?
I have some jokes about, you know, I don't know, the feminine. I don't know if I can say it on.
Sure, of course.
Radio.
This is internet radio. You can say
like
it. Go ahead.
Vagina, right? Some
sure.
female are like, "Shut up! Don't joke about your vagina." Why not? It's funny.
I remember now. You're now even more so. Now I'm having a flashback to say when you were talking about vaginas and stuff like that, and I said, well, yeah, I got no problem with that. Can I have another drink? We're talking about vaginas over here, so bring me another drink, please.
I think that, you know, in our culture, it's you know, for women, sometimes we are expected to be a little bit more sheltered and a little bit, you know, and less honest maybe, right, to always put on a certain type of a face to the world. But the things that I find funny is just being truthful about, you know, my life or you know, my disgusting 50-year-old body.
Come on now, come on. I mean, you're not giving yourself enough credit. If anything, Mary, I mean, you impressed me the way you were dressed and everything, nice and simple, but with a knockout punch. That's what I liked about you. I said, she's as pretty as a flower, but she's got an uppercut like Mike Tyson.
Oh, you are so sweet.
And the glasses, I like the glasses look. Hey, man, that's a nice little, you know, like cherry, that's a cherry on the top of the cake there. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the sexy librarian. That's what I go for, right?
The sexy librarian, there you go. Mary, let me ask you a question. Guys today, you know, women are very independent now, but now guys are intimidated because there's a lot of independent women out there. What's up with the guys today? What's the problem?
Well, you know what? I don't know. I think it depends on I think it's a lot of it's a generational thing. You know, what I find is that the men that I work with generally are pretty, and that I interact with generally, you know, they like women being independent because it means that, you know, we rely less on the men. So I don't know, you know, for me, I don't really see that. And maybe it's just because I have a big mouth and I'm going to make a mean joke about you if you're rude to me, right? But right. I don't get so much that men have a problem with the independent women. I think that in America, you know, we all just kind of expect the gals to open the doors for ourselves these days. You know, when I did wreck the car, I think I have some jokes about being a bad driver. My husband actually, he makes me go get the car fixed myself.
Really?
When I wreck it. Yeah, he's like, you wrecked it, you fix it. So
wow.
we don't have that traditional division of labor at our house. We're just more like two equals. If I wreck that car, I know I'm going to have to go through the pain of taking it over to the shop.
Well, let me ask you, Mary, so is it fair to say that you don't make homemade tortillas?
Oh, my God. I'm not even allowed in the kitchen. My husband's a chef, okay?
Not allowed in the kitchen, okay.
If I go cook something, my husband will be right there beside me. What are you doing? Here, let me help you.
I've always said in my morning show, I've always said, you know what, ladies, don't worry if you don't know how to cook. As long as you can cook in the bedroom, that's all you need to know. Guys don't care about the homemade tortillas. As long as you take care of the other part of it, you're going to be good to go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I told you my best friend is a Latina. When we had an apartment together right after high school. So this was, a long time ago. And I made a terrible soup. I thought, well, I'll be creative. So I made a soup that had tomato and then tuna fish in it. If you can imagine how horrible that sounds, right?
Oh,
so
my God.
I fed some to my friend Vera, and she told me later that her mother had told her, Vera, don't ever, never eat anything that Mary cooks ever again.
That bad?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've been a bad cook since childhood.
Well, Mary, I got to ask you, if you're a bad cook, how did you sell yourself to get married here? How did you do this?
You know what? I don't know. I think back in the day, because I've been married 23 years, so back in the day, I think it was about when that Melanie Griffith movie came out, Working Girl. So when we were dating, I told my husband, well, I've got a head for business and a bod for fun. And he believed it, so, I suckered him in long enough to get him to the altar.
Right? It's crazy. It really, really is. I've always told people, when I do the morning show, I'm always talking. I'm not even going to use the word smack, but I just I like to piss off the women a little bit. I really do.
Oh, you do?
Well, a little bit. But like I said, I got to make it interesting. I don't want to be boring. But I've said, I always have a question of the day. And one question of the day was, ladies, how would you feel if you went out on the first date and the man takes you out for dinner and then he pulls out the old coupon in front of you? Would you like that? Yes or no? Now, you tell me, Mary, how would you feel if a man would take you out on the first date, let's say you're not married, and he pulls out a coupon at Whataburger? Marie, how would you feel about this?
Oh, my God. I would be so insulted. Seriously. That is
really?
so low rent. Oh, my goodness gracious. I don't even like to bring coupons in real life, honestly, because I think I've got that. I probably do have that mentality where I like to pretend I'm richer than what I am. I don't know if everybody's like that, but I am super bad about I hate coupons of every type. I'd rather spend the extra money. Isn't that terrible? Oh.
Do you find it where it would be embarrassing?
Oh, my God, yes. You know why? Because my mom was so cheap. My family, I come from a really poor family. And so even when I was in Girl Scouts, in grade school, we had to go get my Girl Scout uniform from the Goodwill in St. Vincent de Paul. And we had to go 3 or 4 different places to get the whole uniform.
Really? I've never heard of getting Girl Scout uniform. Wow. And it fits you.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it was terrible. So anybody that's cheap, that's not the kind of place. So I don't know.
What do you say, Mary? He better have the bucks, right? He better have the bucks, right?
Well, yes.
Well, all I can say, Mary, is I'm a coupon guy every once in a while, man. Heck, man, I'll go to Dollar General and I'll ask them, what's your deal of the day? Man, if I can save $1, I'm going to save $1. Hey, come on, hey, Mary.
You know what? My husband's a really good money manager, and he manages our money. And what he has to do is basically trick me into saving money. So.
How does he do this? How does he trick you, Mary?
Well, he'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of a good one. Well, he'll get the Groupons, right? So, and he'll go, let's go to the, what's that steakhouse? It's not Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, but a really good steakhouse. Let's just say it's Ruth's Chris. He said, I want to take you to this steakhouse, right? And then he'll just sneak over there to the waiter and go, I have this Groupon, so, don't show my wife.
And you don't want to know either, right?
Right, pretty much, It's just one of those psychological things, right? Oh, my God.
Well, hey, man, guys have tricks also, Mary. Like, let's say you went out with a guy, okay? Let's pretend you're not married. You're going out with a guy, and he pulls you. Y'all go down, to a nice little steakhouse. You sit down, you're eating or whatever, and then he says, "You're not going to believe this, Mary. I forgot my wallet. You're going to have to pay."
Well, you know what? Honestly, I don't mind that because, like I said, I told you, I have a head for business, so I feel happy to be able to be pretty independent financially, right? So I wouldn't mind doing that. Would I go out with him again? I don't know. I wouldn't mind paying, but I'd probably get that ego boost of like, sure, I'll pay. I got this. Don't worry.
Mary, I can't say I'm a big Judge Judy fan. I love Judge Judy. I always tell people she's my kind of bitch. I always say that. She's my kind of bitch, that Judge Judy. But one thing that I noticed on a lot of her episodes, too many of them, where women are suing men to get their money back. Women keep on giving men money. What's up with that, Mary?
Isn't that crazy? You know what? I think that maybe it's that, they want to be loved so much, right? Especially those of us who, for whatever reason, and this comes with being a comedian, we all basically hate ourselves and feel unlovable at least, 80% of every day. So I think that when you see that someone almost damaging themselves financially to help another person, you can be sure the person that's giving all their money away, they think that the man's life is more important than their own, right? They want to be loved that much. So I think that's sad.
It is, but there's too many men out there that are willing to take advantage of this.
Well, it's almost too many people, you know what I mean? Like, I won't mention any names, but I have my own family members who are all too happy to take my money.
Mary says, no and hell no.
I'm not a bank.
Crazy. Now, Mary, when you're up there on stage and you're doing your show, do you get nervous?
Oh, every time. Yeah, every time I go up. And I think that's part of performing, is controlling that fear, and then you just channel it into your performance.
I noticed that one of the comedians was drinking a beer. I forgot his name, the one that closed out the night. He was drinking the beer, but I also noticed that nobody else was drinking, only him. Do you ever have a drink or something while you're doing your show?
Raul, no. You know what? For me, because, as you know, of my advanced age, most of these comedians are in their 20s. I'm so old that if I have a drink before I go on, I might not tell my jokes right. I might miss my joke. So I won't have beer. Like sometimes they'll pay us in beer, but I'll wait till after I go up. I do not drink before I go on stage ever. I don't drink the whole day. So if I've got a show 10 o'clock on Saturday night, that ruins my whole Saturday.
So it wouldn't be a good thing if you had a couple of drinks before you went on stage, right?
Well, I've done it before. I remember one time I did a show up in Montreal, Canada, and I'm like, shoot, nobody knows me here. It won't matter if I mess up my joke. I hope my friends in Montreal don't hear this. But anyway, so I'm like, I'll have a drink before I go on. And what I found was I couldn't think as fast, right? And so I did mess up one of my jokes. So I thought, well, I'll learn my lesson on that. I'm not going to do it again.
Now, before we close out here, Mary, I've got to hear one of your jokes. Give me a male joke, man. Give me something here where the girls where my female listeners are going to feel better. I'm not saying you got to go ahead and tear into me, but give me a male joke, where you're kind of, throwing some jabs at the guys. You got one in particular that you like?
Well, I guess maybe one of my favorite ones is about the cars, where to a woman, a car is just a way to get from point A to point B, right? But to a man, a car is it's an extension of their manhood. And so, that's why it shouldn't be any surprise that my husband drives that Mini Cooper, right?
The Mini Cooper?
That's just a joke. I know. You know what? That's mainly at my husband. That's mainly at my husband. Sorry. I thought it makes other women feel good to make fun of my husband. Mary?
He's probably going, hey, leave me out of this. Hey. Mary, let me ask you, where are you going to be performing? Where are you going to be performing? Where are your future dates?
Well, let's see. I'll be at the River Center on October 12th, hosting there. And then I'll be hosting at River Center again at the end of November, Thanksgiving weekend on that Friday and Saturday and Sunday night.
So you keep everything pretty much here local, San Antonio, maybe South Texas?
Yes, yeah, for now, right now. Yeah, I've been traveling a little bit less, sticking closer to home.
I can understand that. You got your husband here, your house, and your bank account. So you got to stay close to all of that.
I love San Antonio. You know what? It's a great town. Of course, you know it's a nice pace of life here. It's not too fast. I like it a lot.
That is simply awesome. Mary Becquet, like I said before, I really enjoyed your show thoroughly. That's how come I said, hey, Mary, give me a call. I want to put you on my morning show, introduce you to my listeners, and that way we can talk a little bit and give them some of the lowdown about what you do and stuff like that. And just simply awesome. Any words out there to the ladies? Any quick advice you want to give to the ladies?
Oh, my God, I just want to tell all the women to follow your dream. You know, you can do whatever you want. Because look at me, in my 40s, I started going like, hey, I think maybe I'll do stand-up comedy. I had one of the guys at the show the other night. After I went up, he came up after me, and he goes, well, if I ever wonder what Scooby-Doo's grandmother would look like after she went through menopause and decided to start doing comedy, now I know. So I just want to say it's never too late. Follow your dreams, gals. Get on out there.
Mary, thank you for being part of Robert Rivas Radio Morning Show.
All right. You're very welcome, Robert. I really appreciate it. My pleasure. It was great to meet you.